The part second begins where he was frustrated. He tried calling his sister Lindsay to ask for the kid's address, but she wasn't answering either. He sent her a message, and she replied eventually. Jason took a quick shower, got dressed, and drove straight to Shayna's neighborhood. It was already 9 p.m. by the time he arrived. The whole area was quiet. He stepped out of his car, careful not to look suspicious. Just then, the gate opened. Shayna stepped out. Jason's heart jumped. It was the first time he'd seen her in years. Her eyes widened in shock when she saw him, but the surprise quickly turned to anger. "Hi, Shayna." "Good evening," Jason greeted her with a nervous smile. "There's nothing good about this evening, Jason, especially not after seeing you," she snapped. "What are you doing here? If you're here for the kids, they're already asleep." That was the Shayna he remembered, sharp and fierce. Instead of being offended, Jason found himself smiling slightly. A part of him had missed her. "I came for you. I can let go of the whole party incident. But please, Shayna, I want to hear the truth from you," he said earnestly. "I have nothing to say to you. If those kids mean anything to you, then get a DNA test." "You've got the money, don't you?" she retorted. "I'm sorry, Shayna. I know I made a mistake, but can we forget what happened and move on?" "Just tell me the truth," Jason pleaded. "Your apology doesn't change anything." "Go before I call security," Shayna said coldly. Jason sighed, head lowered, and walked back to his car. Shayna hurried upstairs to the veranda and looked down, watching his car drive away. Her heart had nearly jumped out of her chest when she saw him. After all these years, he hadn't changed. Still ridiculously handsome. But she couldn't let herself fall again. Not when she had done nothing wrong and loved him so completely before he left her. She didn't deserve that. No, she reminded herself. Jason didn't deserve her kindness. Not yet. 3 months passed. Jason had gone back and forth visiting Shayna's house, hoping she'd talk to him, but she continued to shut him out. It was clear she wasn't going to make things easy. At one point, Jason realized he might never get a direct answer from her, so he finally followed her earlier advice. He took the triplets for a DNA test and accompanied them himself. When the results came in, it confirmed what he had already suspected in his heart. They were his children. That day, Jason felt a shift. As they left the clinic together for the first time, he saw them not just as 3 random kids, but as his sons, a real family. Shayna had joined them for the test. Watching how happy the boys were to be together with both parents made something inside her soften. Slowly, she began to treat Jason with a little less distance. Jason, for his part, used the next few months to make up for lost time. He spent every chance he could bonding with the triplets, taking them out, helping with homework, picking them up from school, and when possible, he tried to make Shayna smile, even if it was just once. He knew it wouldn't be easy to win her back, but it didn't stop him from trying. Eventually, his efforts began to show. Shayna started allowing him around more often. The coldness in her voice faded, little by little. The walls were slowly crumbling. Jason realized the most important thing he could do now was apologize to Susie. He had to give her closure. And most importantly, he had to be honest with himself. He was ready to move on, ready to commit to Shayna and the 3 kids who gave him a second chance at being a father. He couldn't deny it anymore. Despite everything he had done, Shayna had chosen to keep their children, raise them well, and shield them from the truth until the time was right. For that alone, Jason owed her everything. He saw the life they could have, one filled with laughter, challenges, warmth, and purpose, and he was ready to step up. Jason had just arrived to pick up his sons. He parked his car a little distance away from the school gate and stepped out, wanting them to see him right away. Moments later, he spotted the triplets walking out of the school gates, looking around as if searching for someone. He waved at them. "Hi, Daddy. I thought you weren't going to pick us up today," Luke said, greeting him with a respectful gesture and hugging his waist. Jason smiled at Luke and then at Lorna, who was also waiting. She quickly signaled someone to load the boys' bags into the car. My love for you three will always be consistent, Jason said. That's why I'm always trying to make up for lost time. Thanks, Daddy. So, where are we going today? Are we heading out again? I hope Mommy's coming with us, Liam asked as he greeted him. Conrad followed and kissed him on the cheek, the youngest and the sweetest of the three. If you don't have any assignments or projects, we'll go out, Jason replied. No assignments, Daddy. Let's go somewhere with Mommy this time, Conrad beamed. All right, into the car. Let's head home first so you can change, and then we'll go pick up your mom, Jason said. The boys cheered, and they all piled into the car. When they arrived at home, Shayna was already at the door, welcoming her children with a warm smile. After about 5 minutes, they all left again with Shayna joining them this time. Did you even tell your mom you're going out again? What if she gets mad that I keep taking you out? Jason asked. It's okay with Mommy, right? Conrad said, looking at his mom. Shayna raised a brow, surprised by the turn of conversation. Well, fine. I'll come along. The boys sat in the back while Shayna took the passenger seat beside Jason. From the back, they could hear the boys giggling. Shayna shook her head. The triplets had been begging her non-stop to give their dad another chance. But if Jason wanted that, he'd have to prove himself. He had to show that he was serious and that his promises weren't just words. So, how are you? Jason asked to break the silence. I'm all right, Shayna replied. Mommy's okay, Daddy, Luke jumped in. Someday she'll be more than okay with you again. That's right, Liam agreed. Daddy, you left her back then. Of course, she's angry. You have to win her back. That's right, Conrad added. You have a lot of making up to do. Jason widened his eyes at his son's boldness. He was already trying, wasn't he? Now he just had to wait and hope for Shayna's heart to soften. Wait a minute. How do you even know all this? Jason asked, turning to Conrad. There are only 3 reasons why couples break up. Cheating, abandonment, or falling out of love. Could be a bad breakup or a good one, Conrad answered like a grown man. Both Shayna and Jason couldn't help but laugh softly. They glanced at each other for a brief moment that felt like it stretched into slow motion, then quickly looked away again. Kids, you're too young to be talking about these things. You should be enjoying life, not worrying about relationships, Shayna said. Sorry, Mommy. We're just really excited to see you two get back together, Conrad said. Daddy still has to try harder to win you over. Shayna turned to him, noting how serious his expression was. But before she could say anything, Luke chimed in. Mommy, are you still mad at Daddy because you haven't moved on yet? What? What are you saying? Shayna stammered. She caught a glimpse of Jason trying to hide a smile, his face already turning red with amusement. Let's stop talking about that and just focus on where we're going, Shayna said sternly, trying to steer the conversation away. But Conrad didn't stop. Well, you two used to love each other. That's why we were born, right? Jason laughed out loud this time. He couldn't help it. Despite being the same age, the triplets were surprisingly mature. Their comments left Shayna embarrassed, but also smiling. She could only shake her head. As they arrived in the city, Jason was deep in thought, wondering where to take his family. Once they parked at the mall, they headed straight to the shoe section. Jason wanted to buy new shoes for himself and for the triplets. Of course, he wasn't going to leave Shayna out either. After shopping, they made their way to an amusement park. This time, not just a carnival, but a real theme park. Shayna had agreed to come. And now they were all together at Star City. Wow, this place is like a giant carnival, Luke exclaimed. But it's way better. So many rides, so many lights. Let's ride everything, Conrad said excitedly. Then Shayna suddenly turned to Jason with a mischievous grin. Hey, Jason. Come ride the extreme with me. Jason's expression instantly changed. He looked like he regretted agreeing to come. I don't think so. I ate a lot earlier. I don't want my stomach turning, Jason muttered, obviously making excuses. But before he could step away, Shayna grabbed his hand. Come on, let's ride the one that drops you from the top, she said, buying tickets before Jason could protest. He was already feeling nervous. As they walked toward the ride, he started making the sign of the cross. He hated heights. The triplets stayed behind, watching and clapping as their parents lined up. Go mommy! Go daddy, they cheered. Because of their age, the kids weren't allowed on the more extreme rides, so they sat this one out to watch from a distance. We can do this, Shayna said, laughing at Jason's terrified expression. Why do you look like that? Don't worry. After this, you'll feel like you can conquer the world. Jason couldn't say a word. They were up next. Without realizing it, they were still holding hands as they took their seats. Once the ride started, the screaming began. The boys cheered and clapped from the sidelines. They're definitely getting back together after this, Luke declared. Don't get your hopes up, Conrad replied. Just because they rode a ride doesn't mean they're a couple again. Let's just pray they do, Liam added hopefully. When the ride ended, Shayna was laughing uncontrollably while Jason looked like he was about to throw up. This is your fault, Jason said, glaring at her like a child. My fault? I just wanted you to face your fears, Shayna replied. The boys told me you got scared during the last ride at the carnival, so I figured let's make you face the extreme. That way, other rides won't scare you anymore. Just like before when you were scared of commitment. They were talking alone now. The triplets had run off to buy ice cream. I'm really sorry, Shayna, Jason said quietly. For what I did before. I wasn't ready back then. We were too young, and I got overwhelmed. You really hurt me, Shayna said, her tone softening. Do you know that? Jason nodded. I was stupid, and I did love you back then. I still do. Then why did you leave? She asked directly. I thought I had too much on my plate. School, family problems, our relationship. It all piled up. So I was the one you chose to sacrifice? Shayna replied, eyes narrowing. It wasn't like that. I came back to apologize, but then I saw you with another guy at a Starbucks. You looked happy. Shayna frowned. Another guy? Oh, that must have been when we had group study. That guy wasn't anyone special. He was just a classmate. The others were out getting food. Jason shook his head. I should have asked. I should have approached you. I got jealous and assumed the worst. He took her hand. I'm sorry I was a coward. I was so scared you had moved on and replaced me. And I was scared of being hurt again. It's been years, Jason, Shayna said. I've moved on from the pain, but I'm still thankful because I got 3 incredible sons out of it. They're my angels. She pointed toward the triplets who were laughing and chasing each other. Thank you, Shayna. I hope you'll give me one more chance, Jason said, voice full of hope. Before she could respond, the boys returned. The rest of the day was filled with joy, excitement, and laughter, a blend of new beginnings and hopeful emotions. The day ended with a mix of excitement, giddiness, and countless emotions. Shayna felt genuine joy watching the triplets laugh so freely. It had been so long since she'd seen them this happy, and a big part of that was Jason being with them. One day, Jason decided it was finally time to visit Susie and ask for forgiveness. He wanted proper closure. It was the only way he could truly move forward. He stood across the street from her house, waiting, watching. Soon enough, the front door opened, and to his surprise, Susie came out with 2 children. Jason's brows furrowed. If they were nieces or nephews, that was odd. She was an only child, and none of her cousins had kids either. A few moments later, a man followed them out. He wrapped his arm around Susie and kissed her on the lips. Jason's jaw clenched, his face darkened. That was fast. So all along she had been with someone else, and she had children. Were they hers? Had she lied to him the entire time, even during their engagement? Jason could barely move, his fists tightened at his sides. Was this what his mother had meant? That the triplets had saved him from a future full of pain? He quickly called his mother. "Where are you, Mom?" he asked, his voice strained. "I just got home from the city," Diane answered. "I'm outside Susie's house. I saw her with 2 kids and a man." "Is this what you meant before?" "I'm sorry, son," Diane said, her voice trembling. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want to be the one who ruined your happiness, but I tried. I really did." Jason closed his eyes, struggling to breathe. "I've known since you were planning the wedding," Diane continued. "I saw them once at the mall. She was with those kids and that man. I investigated. They've been together for a long time. Those children are hers. She lied to you." Jason didn't say a word. He slammed his fist onto the steering wheel. He felt betrayed. Not because he loved Susie, but because she had never been honest. They had been close friends before anything romantic happened, and she still didn't tell him the truth. "I don't deserve this," he muttered. "Of course not," Diane replied gently. "Come home. Your kids are here. Focus on them. Focus on your future." Jason didn't go straight home. He needed space to think. He had been betrayed by someone he trusted. But surprisingly, he wasn't as devastated as he thought he'd be. Somewhere in his heart, he realized that Shayna had never really left it. Jason didn't go home right away. He needed time to clear his head. Yes, he was hurt, betrayed by someone he thought was his closest friend, but the pain wasn't rooted in love. It came from being misled. And more than anything, it made him realize something he had been denying all along. Shayna was the one he had truly loved. Meanwhile, Shayna had decided to unwind that evening. The house was quiet. Her triplets had gone to visit their grandparents, and she saw no reason to tag along. She was trying hard to suppress any feelings she might still have for Jason. But it wasn't easy. Every day, he proved himself more and more. He had matured. He was present. He was trying. And truth be told, that made him even more appealing. She asked Lorna if she wanted to go out with her, but the housekeeper politely declined, saying she didn't enjoy going out. So Shayna went alone. She headed to a bar, planning to have a drink and maybe clear her mind. An hour later, she parked her car beside the bar, stepped inside, and immediately noticed something strange: loud music, a light crowd, and a man hunched over at the counter, drinking nonstop. Even with his back turned, she recognized him immediately. It was Jason. He was drinking like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Hey, you," she said, approaching him and touching his shoulder. "Broken-hearted again?" Jason turned to her slowly, eyes glassy from alcohol. "What are you doing here?" "Were you following me?" he asked. Shayna rolled her eyes. "Why would I follow you?" "You're not that important," she replied, though her tone was more amused than annoyed. Jason stared into his drink. "Yeah, I guess that fits. I'm just a worthless man who once hurt you. Maybe I deserve everything that's happening to me now." "What happened? Was it more than just the ruined engagement party?" Shayna asked, softening her tone. "Forget it. You're not interested," Jason muttered, then reached for her hand where it rested on the bar counter. "You don't know that," Shayna replied, giving him a small smile. "Try me. I'll listen." Jason looked up, surprised. "So, you're not mad at me anymore?" "Not really," Shayna said sincerely. "You've been making up for lost time. That's enough reason for me to let go of my anger." Jason gave a bitter laugh. "So now I'm the one who's hurting. You got your revenge." "You're being a good father now," Shayna said. "And that's all that matters. I've seen how you are with them. I have no reason to hold on to the past." Jason gave her a long, quiet hug, one she didn't immediately pull away from. "Everything will be okay, Jason," Shayna said gently, running her hand over his back. Whatever you're going through, it'll pass with time. Jason didn't reply right away. He just leaned into the comfort of her presence. It's not just the engagement, he finally said. Susie, she lied to me. She has kids. She's been with someone else this whole time, even before we got engaged. Shayna's heart sank. She had a partner and 2 children. All this time, she pretended we had a future together. That's terrible, Shayna said. But I'm glad you found out now. I wanted to fight for her once, Jason whispered. But she wasn't worth it. She wasn't honest. I nearly gave up everything for a lie. Come on, let's get you out of here, Shayna said. You've had enough for tonight. She stood, helped him to his feet, and guided him to her car. As she settled him into the passenger seat and walked around to get in, she glanced back at the bar. Jason had just taken another step away from his past, and she had taken a step closer to forgiving him. Jason was drunk. Shayna could see it clearly as she helped him into the front seat of her car. She took a moment to scan the parking lot for his vehicle, then signaled to the bouncer that she'd be back for it later. After a long drive, they finally arrived at Jason's parents' house. Shayna got out of the car first, then walked around to help him out. They stood together at the gate, her arm wrapped around his waist to support him as he swayed slightly. She pressed the doorbell. Moments later, the gate opened, and Lindsay appeared, smiling when she saw them. He's drunk. I just brought him home, Shayna explained. Come inside. The kids are here, too, Lindsay said with a grin. Shayna hesitated, surprised Lindsay recognized her. She must have heard all about her from the triplets. Help me get him inside, Shayna said, struggling with Jason's weight. Lindsay rushed to her side, and together they helped Jason into the house. Shayna felt self-conscious as Jason's parents stared at her intently. Did you two go on a date, Mommy? Conrad teased, grinning as he watched them enter. The boy had no filter. Shayna glanced at Jason's parents again. Their smiles grew wider. They laid Jason down on the sofa. He was heavy and difficult to manage. Shayna was exhausted from supporting his weight. You know, I really like you, Diane said, beaming at Shayna. Good evening, dear. We're happy to finally meet you. Shayna stepped forward, bowed respectfully, and greeted them. Good evening. It's nice to meet you. She then turned to Lindsay and Miles, who introduced themselves properly. We've actually known you for a while, Diane said. Thanks to all the stories the boys told us. Thank you for giving us 3 intelligent, sweet, and well-mannered grandsons. It's nothing, Shayna replied, a little flustered. Come visit more often, okay? We like you for our son, Dennis said with a smile. I'll come by when I'm not busy with work, Shayna replied shyly. They all sat down to chat for a while. As the night grew deeper, Jason's parents insisted that Shayna and the triplets stay over. The kids agreed and headed upstairs with Lindsay, who lent them some clothes. She also volunteered to handle their bedtime routine. Shayna was left alone in the living room with Jason, who was still passed out on the sofa. She knew exactly where his room was, so she stood up and approached him, trying to lift him into a sitting position. Let's go upstairs, she whispered, tugging at his arm. Step by step, she helped him up the staircase. But just before they reached the top, Jason stumbled, sending them both tumbling. Shayna landed beneath him, wide-eyed as she realized how close they were. Jason looked like he was about to vomit. Ugh. Don't throw up on me, she muttered, pushing him off with all her strength. Jason flopped onto the floor, groaning. Shayna stood up quickly, realizing he was going to be sick. She ran downstairs to grab a mop, a bucket, a dipper, and a towel. When she returned, she found the mess on the floor. She cleaned up, muttering under her breath, wondering why she ever helped him in the first place. She put on a face mask from Jason's drawer to help with the smell. Once the mess was cleaned up, she helped Jason out of his clothes and wiped him down with a towel. She tried not to look at his abs or his well-toned body. She failed. Just as she was drying him off, he suddenly grabbed her wrist and pulled her toward him. She landed on top of him. And then he kissed her. At first, she resisted, but eventually their lips moved in sync slowly, then with more passion, with more feeling. The next morning, Shayna woke up early. She wasn't in her own house, so she couldn't allow herself to stay in bed for too long. She stepped into the kitchen without worrying about what others might think, though she was still sulking about what had happened the night before. Why did I let him kiss me, she thought, frustrated. What if he remembers everything? What then? She was chopping vegetables for a fish stew when she suddenly felt arms wrap around her from behind. Startled, she moved away, but Jason gently stopped her. What are you doing, Jason? She asked, goosebumps rising as he started to kiss her neck. But instead of pulling away, she found herself pausing. She liked it. She hated that she liked it. Isn't it obvious? I'm hugging you, Jason answered. You were drunk last night. That kiss meant nothing. We're in the present, not the past. We're not together, she muttered. I know, but you're single, right? I'm single, too. We have kids together, and all we did was kiss. Just go with it. Let's stop pressuring ourselves to look for someone else, Jason whispered near her ear, making her shiver. Stop that. It's too warm already, Shayna scolded, though her smile betrayed her embarrassment. Jason grinned behind her. There's an air conditioner in here, Shayna. It's not warm. Or maybe you're just not used to being this close to me again. Are you nervous because your feelings are coming back? Wow, you've got some nerve, Shayna snapped, slipping out of his embrace. Jason moved to the table, resting his elbows on it and watching her. I thought you forgave me. Why do you keep bringing up the kiss? Shayna didn't answer. His gaze felt like it pierced her soul. She didn't want to give in. Not again. Not if he'd just leave all over again. She focused on cooking instead, needing something to distract her. It was Saturday, so the kids didn't have school. Meanwhile, Jason sat in his car later that day, grinning like a fool while they drove with the entire family. He had no appointments, no obligations. He was free to spend the day with them. But just as they were enjoying their outing, Shayna suddenly clutched her head. She had a terrible headache. Without saying anything, she left her building and walked outside, intending to go home and rest. To her surprise, Jason's car pulled up right in front of her. The passenger door opened, and he took her hand, guiding her into the seat gently. You okay? He asked, concern written all over his face. My head hurts so bad, she said softly. Lean back. I'll buy you medicine, Jason replied, then began to drive. Shayna closed her eyes. She hadn't even realized they'd stopped until Jason handed her some medicine and a packed lunch. Here, eat first before taking this, he said. She did. As she chewed, Jason placed both his hands on her forehead and began to massage her temples. Shayna swallowed hard, realizing how close their faces had become. She couldn't deny it anymore. He was trying. Really trying. She was starting to believe him. You're here again, Shayna said as they sat quietly inside her house. Aren't you tired of coming back? I'll never get tired, Shayna. Let me stay, no matter how long it takes. I'll wait because I love you. I love our kids, Jason said firmly. Back inside Shayna's home, she was trying to maintain her distance. Stop courting me, she said. Stop coming here again and again. Jason blinked, confused. Wait, what do you mean? Shayna's face hardened. I said stop trying because yes, I'm saying yes, we're officially back together. Jason's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. Then suddenly she took off one of her high heels and lightly hit him on the head. You've kissed me so many times already. You deserve this, she scolded. Jason cheered in triumph and jumped up with joy. The triplets came running downstairs and saw their dad celebrating. They all hugged, one big family hug, their hearts racing with happiness. Finally, everything felt complete. Time passed quickly. They were back at the amusement park. Jason wanted to conquer his fear of heights to ride the Ferris wheel this time, despite still being afraid. He wanted to experience what it felt like to be at the top with Shayna beside him. When the ride was cleared, Jason bought 2 tickets. He invited the kids, but they declined. Instead, he gave them money to buy ice cream. As Jason and Shayna boarded the ride, she noticed the triplets giving them a thumbs up. Jason returned the gesture. It felt like they were all in on something she didn't know. Once the Ferris wheel started moving, Shayna straightened up in her seat and closed her eyes tightly. As they rose higher and higher, she grabbed onto Jason in fear. He wrapped his arms around her, calming her a little. Eventually, she let go and glanced downward. Then she turned to face him and gasped. Jason was down on one knee inside the gondola, holding a ring. "Will you marry me, Shayna?" "I believe it's about time," he said loudly, raising his voice over the noisy creaks of the ride and the shouts from the crowd. Shayna was shocked. She hadn't expected this, but she remembered everything he'd done, how hard he tried, how much he changed. "Yes, I will marry you," she whispered, overwhelmed. Jason stood, slipped the ring onto her finger, and pulled her into a tight embrace. "Thank you, Shayna," he said. "There are too many things I'm thankful for, but most of all, thank you for our 3 brilliant, lovable, mischievous boys. I promise no more goodbyes. I'll stay with you till the end. I love you so much." "I love you too, Jason," Shayna replied. As the Ferris wheel brought them back down, they stepped off as a couple engaged once again. They didn't waste any more time. They were older now, ready. In just 2 months, they had prepared everything for a simple, intimate wedding attended only by close friends and family. And not long after their marriage, they were blessed with another child. Now they could truly say they were one big, happy family with God at the center of everything. And that's where the love story of Jason and Shayna and their little ones ends. Thank you very much for reading. Shout out to you all. This was Dark Voices, and we'll see you very soon, our dear nation.